After readily accepting Mist's request for aid, Tuya and the others discovered Black Wind's hideout based on the information they'd been given, and successfully infiltrated the place post-haste. Of course, Black Wind had already been completely eradicated, so calling their mission a success would be giving them a bit too much credit. As the party continued deeper into the hideout, doubt started to creep onto Nana's face. Guys, isn't it kind of weird how we haven't seen anyone at all so far? Mist-san said that a party of rank A adventurers had gone ahead of us, didn't she? Could it be that we've gone to the wrong place? I don't think so. We've already checked the entire vicinity and concluded that this is the only suspicious-looking hideout around, right? Setsuna, are you getting anything from the presence sensing skill you recently picked up? My skill rank is still pretty low, so I can't be sure, but it feels like there's a big group gathered farther ahead. I can't feel anything beyond that, though, so we might have to go a bit deeper first. Let's head to where that group is. Maybe they're the ones who got captured. Agreed, piped up Miyabi in support of Tuya's suggestion. Something really doesn't seem right here. There's no sign of battle, and there are no bodies anywhere. We need more information, therefore, we need to prioritize finding the others. All right, then. I'll take the lead. Everyone keep your guard up. With Setsuna in front, the heroes headed for what seemed like the only place in the hideout where anyone might still be alive. They kept a sharp eye out for traps, but strangely, all of the traps they came across had been disabled. With nothing in their way, their progression was quite fast, and soon enough, they reached the room they had been heading for. Everyone, we've arrived. We didn't see anyone or anything on the way here. That actually seems more suspicious to me. My danger detection never went off along the way, either, commented Nana. We have no choice, though. We have to check this out, right? I'll go in first. Girls, back me up. Girls are courageous. Handle on the fly. After a quick retort, I'm a guy though. Tuya vigorously threw the door open and rushed in. He was first greeted by the sight of a group of females who had presumably been kidnapped by Black Wind. Thankfully, all of them looked unharmed. Several of them seemed startled by Tuya's sudden entrance. Sorry for surprising you. We've come to save Y. In the middle of his apology, Tuya's eyes fell on something else. Its small size, it only reached the height of his knee, was probably why he hadn't noticed it at once. On the floor right beside him was a jiggling blue slime. A monster. Shit, everyone get down. Tuya immediately identified the slime as an enemy and brought his sword to bear. This blade, which he had received from the Pope who reigned over Deramus, was a weapon that had been used by generations of heroes, the Holy Sword Will. With the ability to power up by resonating with its wielder's personal will, this was a legendary weapon that had saved many heroes from nigh impossible situations. Each swing was powerful enough to kill. However, Tuya never managed to bring the sword down. Don't do that. Huh? A little girl leapt out from the ring of victims to stand between Tuya and the slime. Her sudden movement caused him to stop his sword mid-swing. This pet belongs to the big brother who saved us. Don't bully it. Be big brother? With no consideration for Tuya's confusion, the girl continued to make cute little angry noises. A woman who seemed to be her mother came over to her in a fluster. I'm very sorry about that. She's become such a fan of the adventurers who saved us. You see, that slime is a companion of those same adventurers, that's why my daughter jumped out without thinking. Is that so? Sorry, then I was in the wrong. Tuya crouched down and apologized to the girl, but she continued to glare at him angrily. At this point, Setsuna and the others had also filed into the room, drawn by the commotion. Ruka, the young man has already apologized, hasn't he? Are all of you here with the group that saved us earlier? Yes, of course. We are. Tuya, We should probably keep our identities a second. The heroes of Deramus. Oh my god, the esteemed heroes? As always, Setsuna's warning came a beat too late, and shrill squeals from the women around them drowned her voice out entirely. She had to retreat to a corner of the room, sighing and rubbing her temples as Tuya was instantly mobbed. It took a while for the situation to calm back down. By then, Nana had used her animal communication skill to converse with the creature directly. Kanzaki-kun, I had a talk with the slime. It says it's been ordered to protect these women as its master went on ahead to the deepest part of this hideout to defeat the leader of Black Wind. It assured me that we can leave these women in its care, and asked us to go help with the fight against the bandits' boss. They have a tamer in their party too? What a weird choice, to tame a slime. Tuya, that's hardly the point here. We should be thinking about what we'll be doing next. Escort the captives out? Back up the adventurers? Which is best? If I may, esteemed heroes, I implore you to follow the adventurers. Although they are rank A, their victory is far from guaranteed. Please lend them your strength. Big brother doesn't need help. And I want to go back with him, cried the little girl. The girl's mother lowered her head deeply in supplication. Naturally, there was no way that Mr. I love helping people Tuya could say no. All right. Leave it to us, ladies. There wasn't an iota of hesitation in his response. There's been no danger at all this whole time. Is it just me, or is this starting to feel like a trap? If the adventurers who went ahead of us defeated all of the Black Wind members, why haven't we seen any bodies lying around? The heroes had finally reached the door of what was clearly the boss's room, still without any encounters or mishaps along the way. Sensing anyone in there? There are 7 people inside. The question is, are they the officers or adventurers? Or both? Mist-san mentioned that there are only 3 adventurers, so that would mean they're fighting with a disadvantage in Num. Then we have to save them now, shouted Tuya, charging in. You idiot! How many times do I have to tell you to think before you act? Setsuna followed close on his heels, and so did Nana and Miyabi a moment later. As Setsuna ran into the room, she heard Tuya shout, "Lower that sword." Looking over, she saw 3 people in adventurer attire lying on the floor. Looming above them was a huge suit of black armor that was about to swing down a massive greatsword and finish them all off. Farther into the room was a man in a black robe, sitting on a sofa, flanked by a maid and a woman in military uniform. All 3 of their outfits were primarily black in color. Tuya's shout immediately drew the gazes of everyone in the room. As if speaking for the group, the black-robed man asked, "What? Who are you guys supposed to be?" In response, Tuya took a step forward, drawing in a deep breath. Once again, Setsuna tried to stop him, but we are the heroes of Deramus. In spite of her high agility stat, her rate of success at stopping trouble before it occurred was actually rather pitiful. Again and again, you spill such important information like it's nothing. Calm down, Setsuna-chan, calm down. Tuya hadn't thought twice before revealing their identities to those who were likely their enemies. Feeling the veins on her forehead pop out a bit, Setsuna looked around the room to take stock of the situation. The ones on the ground are likely the rank A adventurers who went on ahead of us. That would make these 4 the Black Wind officers. It looks like we arrived just as they were about to finish off the adventurers. Things would have gone sideways if we had arrived even a moment later. That would have broken the little girl's heart. Heroes of Deramus? The ones supposedly summoned by the Oracle? That's right, Tuya pointed his sword at the man. Bandit Gang Black Wind, we have come to defeat you. Ah, reinforcements? I'm afraid you're too late, though. Gerard? The black-robed man threw his hand up in a signal, prompting his armored companion to turn back to the 3 victims lying on the ground. Esteemed heroes. Please save us. They're going to kill us. These people, they did whatever they wanted with my body. Please avenge me. Without warning, two of the adventurers, the woman and one of the men, had pulled themselves up and were loudly pleading for help. So you guys were just playing dead, huh? Well, glad to see you're still nice and energetic. But to stoop to this? You sure you're really rank A? Blackrobe shook his head, looking slightly amused. You're asking the wrong people for help, though. There's no one here who'll... Yeah? Tuya charged forward, letting out a determined battle cry that cut off Blackrobe's words. Although his speed was inferior to Setsuna's, he still managed to close the distance in a split second. He was only a few steps away from Blackrobe when a shadow suddenly loomed before him. Clang! Damn it! Standing in his way was the Black Knight, who had crossed the room just as quickly. Holy Sword clashed against Demonic Blade, and sparks flew where the two swords crossed as both sides pressed each other in a contest of strength. But whereas Tuya was using both hands to wield his sword, the knight needed only one to match him in strength. Whoa, hold on a second. What do you think you're doing, attacking someone out of the blue like that? Shut up. Let those people go. You confuse me more and more, Blackrobe said. What, are we not allowed to engage in self-defense? Neither he nor the women beside him looked bothered in the least as Tuya fought the knight. Shit. The strength of this guy is off the charts. He's even wearing a full suit of armor and yet he's still faster than me. Tuya's blade was gradually losing the sword lock. It wouldn't be long before his position crumbled entirely. That's why you shouldn't dive in by yourself. Idiot. Tuya heard the voice of his childhood friend behind him. A moment later, Setsuna had drawn her sword and unleashed a slash of her own with godlike speed. The Black Knight simply threw off Tuya's blade as if it were nothing, then dodged Setsuna's attack by a paper-thin margin. Fall back for now. What are you saying? How can I back off in the face of the enemy? Read the situation a little, you justice-obsessed simpleton. Setsuna grabbed the back of Tuya's collar and retreated to the entrance of the room with the speed of a gust of wind. Their enemy did not give chase, and the two of them were able to successfully regroup with the others. While congratulating them on remaining in one piece, Miyabi, in a rare show of effort, gave them some serious and detailed advice. Welcome back. I feel strange magic from Black Knight's sword. Can't tell how much magic Blackrobe has. Probably more than me. Be careful. Are you all right, Kanzaki-kun? You shouldn't run ahead like that. We have to work together to reach our true potential, remember? Said Nana as she cast healing magic on him. The tears in her eyes spoke volumes about how worried she had been. Last of all came a little pep talk from Setsuna. You hear that, Tuya? If you really want to help those people, calm down first. Ah, I'm sorry, the blood rushed to my head. Please lend me your strength, everyone. Let's defeat these bandits and save the adventurers together. Seeing the girls' reassuring nods, Tuya found himself feeling much calmer than before. Their opponents were clearly stronger, but they were also unforgivable criminals who had been kidnapping innocent people. He and his friends, called to this world to be heroes, simply could not overlook such an injustice. Are you guys finally done? Blackrobe called out from where he was still calmly seated across the room. That was awfully kind of you, to sit there and wait for us, growled Tuya. Well, it's not like we're looking to antagonize the oh-so-esteemed heroes of Deramus. In fact, we'd rather prefer it if you just turned around and walked back out. It was clear that Blackrobe was making light of their status as heroes, but Tuya didn't mind. If their enemies weren't on guard, that meant they were underestimating Tuya and his friends, which increased their chances of winning. He vigilantly kept an eye out for an opening that they could exploit. I'm afraid we can't do that. Although we might consider letting you go if you hand over those prisoners first. Ah, I'm afraid we can't do that, either. These three are our spoils. Such hyena-like opportunism is hardly befitting of heroes, don't you think? I guess negotiations have broken down, then. Setsuna returned her sword to its sheath and adopted a stance so refined that even someone who knew nothing about swords would be impressed by its beauty. This was clear proof of how diligently she had kept up her daily training. Tuya, Nana, and Miyabi also readied themselves for battle. Not too bad, murmured Black Robe as he looked at the heroes with a sense of satisfaction. Before we start, whatever this is, can I ask a question? Exactly who do you guys think we are? There is no doubt. You must be the officers of the bandit gang, Black Wind, replied Tuya. You tried to make it look like the gang was dissolved a year ago, but the jig's up. The courage of those adventurers there has proven your crimes. You should stand down and turn yourselves in. We heard that Black Wind members have a preference for black-colored clothing, Setsuna added. Along with everything else, that detail fits you and those with you. Above all, your smile looks very evil. You look like an evil person. From every angle, commented Miyabi, as if declaring the QED of a mathematical proof. For the briefest moment, Setsuna thought she saw a trace of shock flash across Black Robe's face in reaction to Miyabi's words. Or did I just imagine it? Black Robe raised a hand to his mouth, as if attempting to cover a smile. The suspicious gesture prompted Setsuna to keep an especially watchful eye on him. Is that so? Well, I guess I can see why you'd think that. Since you guys went to the trouble of coming all the way here, how about we play a game? A game? The heroes grew even more wary at the unexpected suggestion. After we finish talking, I'll have a practice match with all four of you. None of my companions will intervene. If even one of your attacks damages me, then you win. On the other hand, if I render all of you unconscious, you lose. No killing is allowed. If anyone dies, the other team loses by default. What do you say? As he finished speaking, the maid next to Black Robe narrowed her eyes slightly, while the woman in military uniform reacted exaggeratedly. It looked like she was vehemently protesting, but much to their bewilderment, the heroes could hear no words being spoken aloud. This game of yours sounds advantageous for us. What's your real intention? I have no hidden intentions, nor am I covering anything up. It's just a game, plain and simple. After all, things would get pretty messy if a hero were to die. So this works out better for all involved. My offer from earlier still stands, though. You're always free to turn around and walk right back out if you want to. What will we be betting? Betting? Let me see. How about the winning side gets to give one order to the losing side? Rather simple and straightforward, don't you think? You can order us to let these idiots go. If you use your order just right, you could even take us prisoner. What proof is there that either side will uphold their promise if they lose? Well, you guys are the heroes, right? You'll keep your word, I'm sure. You wouldn't be heroes otherwise. Well, that's true, Tuya nodded. As for me, let me see. How about I write up a contract? Regardless of what you think of us, we're still adventurers. If we don't abide by our contract, you can take it straight to the guild. I'll include a line agreeing to be expelled if I break my word. Give me a moment. Black Robe took a pen and paper offered by the maid, then swiftly wrote up his offer. Right, this should do the trick. Here you go. Feel free to look it over first. The paper that was meant to serve as a contract fluttered over to the heroes on a soft wind that sprang up out of nowhere, landing gently in Tuya's outstretched hand. Would this contract actually be binding? He asked Miyabi. This paper is a valuable magical item. It's imbued with his magic. Likely the real thing. If you say so, then it must be true. All right, we'll accept this game of yours. Hearing that declaration, the captives on the floor raised their voices in a cheer. Setsuna. however, thought she saw Black Robe grinning yet again behind his hand.